Mr. JaumPM, happy Sunday. The point of this was to say thank you for being a good friend, for being an excellent content creator, for being just a good man, for caring about me, for caring about my best friend, and for helping me run a raid that I haven't run. King's Fall was the last raid that I ran with Ice and Fanta before I disappeared into abusive marriage in 2016. So I never played Rise of Iron, never played Wrath. I missed D2 Year 1. I showed back up once I escaped the marriage in Forsaken, which is a funny name now that I think about it. So, getting to do this today meant a lot to me. I just want to thank you. But it's more than that. You're a fantastic teacher. I'm thinking of the couple of times that I've raided with you. I'm thinking of all the times that we played Trials, or Comp, or whatever. Or all the times that I just sat in your stream and watched you play with other people. One of the things that I really admire about you, and this kind of dovetails into the other thing that I wanted to say, I struggle with losing my cool in the heat of the moment, especially, and I'm going to tell you why in a second, because it's an accessibility issue. No matter how many times I've seen you run, and I mean, I've seen you play exhausted. I've seen you play, you've been playing Trials for hours, and I can tell just because I've known you long enough that, maybe you're irritated, but even when I know you're irritated, you don't come off irritated. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because I believe me, it would go against my recovery, and the whole point of my therapy is, to, feel all your feelings, right? So I'm not saying there's a problem, like if you were to get irritated or whatever. You have real poise, and you have a way, and this is the part that gets into the accessibility thing, you have a way of explaining things that makes sense, but you have a way of explaining it to me and with me is, I guess, the way to say it. You're not just explaining it to me, you're explaining it with me. I feel like a real friend is explaining it to me. I haven't once felt you, I never felt like, you thought that the problem was on my end. You know what I mean? Like that I was stupid or slow. I've never once felt like you were condescending or patronizing or impatient even. And you're also really good in the heat of the moment. Like I keep thinking of this one match on Cauldron that we played years ago. It probably was years ago by now. It was one of the first times I played with Co as well. And the things you taught me about Cauldron that night have stuck with me. But not only did the how to play a Crucible map stick with me, but the way that you taught me. You've got a real knack for it. And one of the things that I've noticed from my own perspective, several times I've played with you, well, even it's been over the last year, I noticed and I remember is you seem to notice when I'm having a hard time understanding or what have you. And I've noticed that you get it usually before I even make a sound. You can tell by the way I'm looking around or not looking around. Or you might hear me go, and then it's like you just know. And not only do you know it, it's like you somehow anticipate, because a lot of people will assume, a lot of people when they hear the questions that I ask or that I'm not understanding, instead of asking me what I need, they assume, it honestly feels like they assume that I'm an idiot, because they then mansplain the fucking encounter to me that I already understand, but they don't even explain the other thing that I was asking about. You have a way of anticipating my confusion and anticipating it step by step. And it's just, I've noticed it a lot when we play together, and it was beautiful tonight, because like I said, I've played King's Fall before, but it's been years. And the accessibility issue is, I was diagnosed with ADHD 4 years ago at the age of 35, but my psychiatrist and I see it going all the way back into my childhood. And it was just never treated, or recognized. And so, which is part of my trauma. it's gotten a lot worse since COVID, and it's a lot of people hear ADHD and it's just they think it's just, oh, you're just not paying attention, or you lose focus, and yeah, that's part of it, but it's more, there's a couple of different subtypes, but for me, it's the predominant subtype that's in most people, and it's not that I'm lacking attention, it's that I'm taking in all the stimuli all the time, and the filter that most people have in their brains, in ADHD brains, the dopamine receptors, they're malformed, they're not formed right, and so our filter is either broken or just busted, and so it's like, so for example, when everybody's talking on comms, I feel like, and this used to happen with me and Ice and Fantasy, I will just, it feels like there's a lightning bolt going up my spine that explodes in my brain. And it triggers an anxiety attack, which can very easily go into a panic attack. And this is part of the accessibility issue. Well, obviously the whole thing's an accessibility issue, but for years I just dealt with it. I kept it secret. I didn't say anything until I would just, because the thing is, I would stuff it until I eventually explode, and then I'd be pissed and I would be harsh and I would say shitty things. And I didn't know why I was doing it. And once it started, I didn't know how to stop it, and sometimes I'll go into an absence seizure where it's like, I'm watching my character do stuff on the screen, but I don't know where the fuck that is coming from. So you somehow anticipate a lot of that. So you're really good at it. And I just wanted to mention that to you because you're my friend, you're a fellow content creator, you already did the fundraiser for special effect. I know you care about this stuff, and I know you care about me as your friend. You know that I'm disabled. And I thought I'd put that bug in your ear. You're a good teacher, and you've got a real knack for not only teaching, but being a Sherpa. And like, it just means a lot to me, because it would be easy to, especially in those moments where I snap or I'm like, whatever, pissed or angry, it'd be easy to say, oh, that Jay guy's he's an asshole. And I have been an asshole in the past at times. I'm working on mending those fences. But it's not, it's like a sensory overload. And the really horrible part is that, since COVID last year, my short-term memory is just, it was bad before because the medication I've been on over the years for fibromyalgia blunts your short-term memory. It's so much worse now. And so like, if I ask the same question over and over, or like, you know what, during the raid there at the end, maybe you did explain it right at the end. Maybe your call outs were fine and I just was having a seized moment and not getting it. But I didn't know how to convey that in the moment. We got through it, but I felt bad, so I want to apologize to you and Shanna and all them. And please feel free to share this with them, or I could message them individually. But I just, when we were at War Priest and Minnie said, suggested that you guys would run with us, and because I was like, I don't have anybody to run with, that meant a lot to me. But if we're going to run, I guess I wanted to be honest about my limitations and the things that I'm experiencing. And some of them are new and they're still developing and I don't understand them yet, but I'm trying. And I'm honored for you to be here and be a part of it. And I just wanted to let you know, I wanted to thank you, but I also wanted to say, hey, if you could please let the guys know, I appreciate them too. And yeah, if we're going to run together, I just wanted to be honest about like what I'm experiencing and stuff, if we could clean up the comms and stuff like that. And just, and hey, I'm willing to give too, so I mean, it's not all about me. Happy Sunday and eyes up.